Have you ever noticed this? You ask an AI chatbot a question, get an answer, and then you ask the exact same question again, and you get a completely different response. It's a little weird, right? It almost feels like the AI is just making stuff up on the fly, or maybe something's a little bit broken. Well, what if I told you that this isn't a bug at all? It's actually a core feature. In fact, try this out for yourself. Seriously, pause this and go try it. Open any chatbot and ask it, write me a one-sentence description of a coffee shop. See what it says? Got it? Okay. Now open a brand new chat and paste in that exact same question. I bet you anything you got a different sentence. See? What you just saw isn't a glitch. It's how these things are designed to work. And here's the best part. Once you understand why it works this way, you can actually take control and start getting the exact kinds of results you're looking for. So let's pull back the curtain. How does an AI actually pick the next word in a sentence? Well, it's not as simple as you might think. It doesn't just find the single most obvious word and plug it in every time. Instead, it kind of plays a game of chance, like a word lottery. Here's what's really going on. The model looks at the text so far and calculates a probability score for every single word it knows. Then it does something called sampling. It randomly draws the next word from that huge list, but the draw is weighted. The more likely words have a much better chance of getting picked. The easiest way to picture this is like a giant lottery. Imagine the AI has written the weather today is. For the next word, maybe sunny gets 1,000 lottery tickets, cloudy gets 300. And a weird word like strange might only get 5 tickets. The model then reaches in and just pulls 1 ticket out. Most of the time it's going to be sunny, but hey, sometimes it'll be cloudy. And very, very rarely it might just be strange. And that random draw is why you get different answers. But that leads to a pretty logical question, right? Why go through all this trouble? Why not just always pick the word with the most tickets? Because if you did that, the AI would be able to tell you, and the AI would become incredibly repetitive, predictable, and honestly, really boring. That little bit of randomness is what makes the responses feel more natural, more creative, more, well, human. Is what keeps AI writing from just being a robotic list of the most statistically likely words. Now here's where you get to be the one in charge. There's a setting you can often control called temperature. You can think of it as the dial that controls how fair or how random that word lottery is. So when you set a low temperature and it's getting close to 0, it's like rigging the lottery. The most likely word gets to keep almost all of its tickets, and it wins pretty much every time. The output is super safe and predictable, but when you turn the temperature up, the tickets get spread around more. Those less likely words suddenly have a real shot. The output gets way more creative, varied, and surprising. Most of the chatbots you use every day, their default is somewhere around 0.7. It's a nice little balance. Not too rigid, but not too chaotic either. It's the sweet spot for a general conversation. But, and this is a really big but, there's a catch. And it's a super important one that you need to be aware of. Because adjusting that temperature dial isn't just about making the writing more or less creative. You're actually managing a constant trade-off. And the stakes are high. It's the battle between creativity and accuracy. And this is maybe the single most important thing to remember. High temperature doesn't just change how the writing sounds. It fundamentally changes the way you write. It fundamentally changes what the model claims is true. Here's why. When a weird, unlikely word wins the lottery, the whole rest of the sentence is built on that shaky foundation. One small error leads to another, and pretty soon you have text that sounds completely confident, but it's totally made up. I've seen it 1,000 times. Ask a factual question at low temp, and the AI might say, I don't know. Ask the same question at high temp, and it'll invent a name, a date, a source. It'll be confident, specific, and dead wrong. So let's make this super practical. Here's your rule of thumb. If you need accurate information, facts, summaries, data, turn that temperature way down. But if you're brainstorming ideas or writing a story and you want a little creative chaos, go ahead and turn it up. That's really the whole decision. Okay, just one last thing. You might be thinking, I'll just set the temperature to 0. That'll solve it. Same prompt, same answer every time, right? Well, in theory, yeah, but in practice, not always. The computer chips running these massive models have tiny little rounding differences in their math. If two words have almost the exact same score, one of those tiny quirks can be enough to flip the winner, even when the temperature is at 0. So if you genuinely need perfectly identical reproducible results, the real tool you're looking for is something called a seed. A seed is basically a starting number that locks in the random draw before it even begins. Use the same seed and you will always get the exact same random path through the lottery. So think of it this way. Temperature controls temperature. Seed controls how random the lottery is. A seed controls which random path you take. For true consistency, you need to use both together. And that's it. You're now in on one of the biggest, most misunderstood aspects of how these AIs work. You have the controls. So now the only question left is, what are you going to create? Will you dial things down for the perfectly predictable, or will you crank it up for the beautifully surprising? The choice.